probably should have won it. As we saw, of course, the London Docks gameplay yesterday. Excited to see if they've made any adjustments coming in today, if the series goes that far, of course. Let's not underestimate UNILAD by any means, though. They've been playing extremely well in the Division Champs, and they've beaten a lot of top heavy hitters.
Absolutely. And ultimately, I think my prediction, at least for map 1, kind of relies on is who's going to make the smarter plays, because we know Gibraltar. We know those spawns are ever so delicate, and one bad rotation can cost you the game. And I think Epsilon more likely to make mistakes than UNILAD is. I think, again, UNILAD has been a much more consistent team. Even if the talent, even if you want to say that's relatively equal, because now that Dave seems to be back, maybe he can head with Scraps. Scraps, though, does get that opening kill to Gibraltar.
Makes it a double as well, as he finds Vortex and UNILAD with the early points. But it's Wuskin already pushing over bridge, trying to get some kind of influence on the spawns. And he may actually be lucky here and find Vortex as well. Does so. So a nice start for Wuskin. And again, just trying to think about potentially pushing a little bit further through, but for now, doing a great job just locking it down. And now you see that final push come through.
They got the spawn out as well. A player for Epsilon, Hockey spawns all the way in the back, but a player from UNILAD is just going to spawn over on the other side kind of with them. But the gunfights here are going to be huge. Finally, you see Epsilon getting a little bit of life, able to pick up 2 kills in their favor. So UNILAD has about the best opening break possible. They get 31 seconds on the board. Epsilon, I would assume, is going to try to lead this time. Hockey's maybe going to get some cutoff kills as well, but he does get cleaned up because of it. But now, Epsilon did do a good enough job of holding the spawns. They will be set up for Courtyard.
They've had a pretty important kill there, which stopped any rotations come from UNILAD, but it ultimately died immediately after. So that one should be good, as Reedy's just pretending to be a bush. You know, sometimes it's the best strategy right there. It would have been better if he got the second, but Moose ultimately finds that kill. They've now left on the hill. Teammates still spawning in, so Epsilon should be good to potentially just slay their way out of this situation, and that could be a double for Dave. Not gonna happen, but Hawkey there to pick up a few more kills, and a good response so far from Epsilon.
Absolutely, and they might be able to take the lead as well. It looks like UNILAD is going to at least 3/4 of them go for one more push to try to at least keep the team out of the hill. Reedy once again gets one, but not the second, but it's good enough job. Epsilon holds on. They're going to take the lead, but again, we talked about the rotations. It's not good enough to hold one of these hills. You got to make some damage on the next one, so Epsilon going to try to break through.
Although it is worth mentioning, yesterday one of the big critiques we had with Epsilon was they would rotate very well, but they would get broken almost instantly. That's a good full hold there on the second hill. Yes, of course, different map, but still well played hardpoint now from FC. Now, though, it's rotation towards Castle Road. UNILAD with the early time. Will they be able to hold off? You've got Wuskin watching down low. Meanwhile, Scraps waiting for anyone pushing through top mid. Shawnee picks up a kill there as well, and it's looking good for Uni to hold this.
I was going to say, I think Wuskin's probably took a little bit too long of a time to rotate back to his team, but didn't make a single difference in the world. Everyone else on UNILAD just wins the gunfight. Scraps is able to get streaks. He has Vortex literally right in front of him. And I was about to say, eventually he's going to find the name, and we know Scraps is going to win those. Again, that's one of the most important qualities of a submachine gun player. It's not always good enough to get the first. You got to get the second as well.
He actually overlaps the streaks there as well. Not going to find the third, but didn't even have the chance or time to call in the first or second streak that he earned. And a beautiful response there on Castle Road from UNILAD. Epsi get essentially the full amount of time on the second hill. UNILAD respond, and now Scraps actually going to use his streaks. That's 3 players dead. Rotation very much in effect here for UNILAD. It's going to be led by Moose, who's had a very slow start in terms of the kill column, but 36 seconds hill time, so, you know, at least he's in the hill when he's dying.
And I will say, it's a good angle from the fighter pilot as well, just to kind of touch on that kind of strategy for a bit, because it's one thing if you get a couple kills of the guys trying to push into the hill, but if you don't get that guy on the top of the steps that's getting the middle, well, the player there can stop your own team from getting the hill, so you got to make sure you take that player down. Scraps, of course, does just that. Man's 19-5 on a 7 streak. He will get, I don't know, 8 sets of streaks this game?
Potentially if he stays on pace like this, right? But it's worth mentioning, again, Scraps using those streaks to really spiral this game out of control, right? It was back and forth after the second hill. They get a full 60. Scraps double downs on streaks, then uses the streaks for the rotation. The fighter pilot comes through, uses a glide bomb as well, and Epsilon not been close to breaking the hill.
Moose is 1-5, and I'm saying that because it literally doesn't matter. They have an 80 point. Yeah, exactly. The opening break, he started off 0-0, and he had like 31 seconds in the hill or something like that. So this is about as perfect of a situation as it gets for UNILAD. You literally have a player. It doesn't matter if they're winning their gunfights because their job just to sit in the hill. So yeah, Scraps
getting close to him.
No, not at all. And Wuskins is on a 5 streak as well. So we talked about twin number 1 has 20 kills to his name. Literally no one has anywhere near him. But twin number 2 is doing okay as well.
Yeah, he's not doing too bad. 9-4, just an assist will do. And he's just looking to try and land some shots, but that's not going to do it. Hawkey finds the pick, and now Epsilon with control of the spawns for the new hill as well. Also, the hardpoint under control. Be interesting to see here if they're able to completely lock down the spawns. That has to be going through their mind here. They need to make sure they don't push too far.
And you talk about streaks, actually, UNILAD, they have some at their disposal. We see teams invest them on pit center all the time. It might seem counterintuitive because you think those middle hills are kind of contest heavy, but it's not true on this. You clear them out, you get aggressive enough, you can spawn the players on Epsilon behind you, get map control, but maybe a slightly missed opportunity because Epsilon, they get a decent chunk of time, they hold on to the spawns, and it's a 40-point game. Yes, UNILAD obviously still has the edge, but not by a huge margin.
Yeah, and remember, first rotation, this was a hard point Epsilon got a full amount of time on, right? It's where they got the majority of their points. Will they be able to hold once again? Hawkey with the first key gunfight wins it. Now it comes down to Dave as players spawning over towards the left-hand side. Unfortunately, not going to win it this time. Really may have to backtrack. Meanwhile, Vortex pinching for mid-map. He drops. The fight still commencing. Hawkey needs to win it for streaks. Gets it as well. One more player pushing into comms. It's going to be Wuskin. Wuskin one-shot. The nade cleans him up. And now Hawkey, this is the big difference. And this is the key to note from what we saw in the first rotation to the second rotation. Now Epsilon have streaks. They can potentially break what we saw UNILAD do so successfully in the first rotation. So realistically, they have the extra utility now to break into that third hill, which they didn't have in the first rotation.
And just to touch on past things on top of the streaks that are, of course, worth mentioning, Moose is 1-12. So we talk about being 1-6 is acceptable when you're in the hill, but at some point you will have to get at least your second
kills
kill.
do help, Jeff.
Yeah, at a certain point, right? So, like, it's great when it works. It's horrible when it doesn't, of course, though. Once again, UNILAD, they have the full spread. They're able to burn one streak, and nothing happens for it. Luskin's picking up the kills on the flank. Now Epsilon are waiting the aggression. They're hoping a glide bomb is going to be enough to get these kills, but there is plenty of cover for everyone here on UNILAD. You see, not even a single player falls, and Epsilon, they're not exactly close enough to swarm on the hill. Now it just comes down to those one-on-one gunfights, and granted, Epsilon might come out on top, but it's not even looking too good. Take that back. Hawkey gets one, but still, the glide bomb, I don't think there was a factor there. They could have just taken those gunfights from the get-go.
Yeah, most definitely could. Of course, the fighter pilot doesn't get a kill either. So very, very quick UNILAD switch over towards Mountain. They recognize, hey, we have to counter those streaks, make sure we can hold this down, and a very, very good, quick decision from them to pull out the Mountain Division. And of course, is now the score 168 to 144. Castle Road comes to an end, but Epsilon, they've done well. They've kept themselves in it now. Can they at least contest on this hill? As soon as it pops, of course, over towards the turret. This was one that UNILAD controlled for the entire time in first rotation.
But at the moment now, they are going to be struggling again. It was the fighter pilot that helped them get control earlier on. Now they got to do it with their guns, and it looks like Moose, criticizing for the slow start, he's on a 4 streak now. He has the STG to make that happen, and now they have control, and Scraps is in a beautiful spot. Doesn't get the second kill, but he allows Moose to even push far enough up. The strat we've seen from Moose, he starts out with an STG top cliff, and before he dies, he makes it all the way across the hill, pushing out spawns. That's a man who's fulfilling multiple roles, depending on what his team needs. A brisk amount of control. It looks like Epsilon might be going for one more solid push here, but Moose, again, he picks up 2 on the hill. He has done his job well.
He most definitely has. As this rotation comes to an end and UNILAD in full control. Scraps has had a beastly game in terms of stats, 27-14, minute 15 in the hill. He's going to pick up that scrap time and find a pick on Vortex there as well. And now into the third rotation of hills. Epsilon, they're trailing pretty heavily here, but comeback could happen. But Wuskin has put himself into a fantastic position just to cause all sorts of panic here from Epsilon. 2 kills come in his favor. Can potentially make a few more picks here as well if he's careful.
And Wuskins really needs to stay alive as well. He wants to be as close to the next set of spawns as you like. Of course, he's hanging around this middle area, but at the very least, it's good enough for UNILAD. They can win on this hill. Absolutely, and when he's piecing up like that, it's hard not to. The man's on a 4 streak. Keep in mind, Scraps started out with 20 kills. I think Wuskins was at like 9. Yep. Now Wuskins has gone on the tear to catch up to his brother.
Oh, and it's a privilege to watch right now as a 3-piece comes through, gets the streaks as well, and that should surely be the final nail in the coffin here for map 1. A 231, 166-point lead. UNILAD with streaks as well at their disposal. Epsilon hanging on for dear life as Wuskin drops the glide bomb down. That should find one, does so. Reedy falls. Scraps in the new hill, but recognizes, let me not just sit in here. Let me try and wait for a little bit of extra teammate support. We know this plays from Epsilon Epsilon a round that could potentially force a little bit of a comeback, but with that kill now, you can see the control that comes through. Just one more player. It's Vortex from Epsilon, which could potentially put a stop to map 1 coming to an end. I think he should fall here, but no, actually does find the pick.
Well, yeah, the streaks are going to come in, though. Players from UNILAD are going to spawn right back up. Just 3 more seconds. Epsilon, they got to make a stressful amount of hero plays. They're not going to be able to do it. The glide bomb does not even come in time, and I think that's a very structured game of nearly every single time. The team that gets control of the hill holds it the entire time. We didn't really see any breaks. We saw a few moments of teams kind of fighting back and contest for moments, but it was rotations. And scraps. It was rotations and scraps that win you the game.
Yeah, fantastic performance there from UNILAD. And you know, we mentioned the second rotation, Epsi, they get streaks heading into the 3rd hill. UNILAD very quick. They pull out mountain and manage to hold that hill down there as well, which is one of the times where you look and you say, all right, this is probably going to be a break. If they have streaks, it's going to help them. But UNILAD very, very quick on their class change. And overall, you kind of mentioned it, just a standard game of Hardpoint, if you will. The team that rotated tend to hold down the Hardpoint for a severe amount of time, and the game just kind of spiraled a little bit out of control there for Epsilon.
Yeah, the only thing UNILAD, I think, maybe could have done better was, well, one, just getting those courtyard spawns the first 2 times this round, but sometimes you just can't get them. But I think it was really the second set of rotations, trying to get the pit center to courtyard. I think they should have invested streaks, but obviously no love lost. The thing Epsilon didn't do right, killing scraps. And then killing Luskins at a certain point. That was the difference maker for the 2 teams. That's all it was.
The problem, obviously, you talk about Scraps early game. I mean, he was an absolute animal. We can take a look at the CWL play of the game. It's basically just a mini montage, if you will, of this man right here. Scraps just tearing it up. And he's getting key kills as well, it's worth mentioning, on the Hardpoint. This is, ironically enough, where he doubles down on his streaks. Doesn't even use them, overlaps. See, there's the 100 points for the Hardpoint secure. Doesn't find the 3rd streak, but it doesn't matter because this is how he uses his fighter pilot. Gets himself a triple, and instantly Epsilon spawning so far away from the new hill. That one play basically earns, what, UNILAD 60, maybe more points there. The glide bomb comes through as well just to seal the deal. But a wonderful series of events.
And granted, some of those kills were from streaks, but he goes from 8 kills, has 2 teammates at 5, and then he just skyrockets up to 20 by the time he goes from, what, 8 to 20, his teammates made it from 5 to 9 or something like that.
A difference, right?
Yeah, he had a nice little run for himself. Again, Scraps won them that game. There's no other way to say it.
Yeah, fantastic performance from him. And of course, UNILAD now 1-0 up in the series. We head over towards Search and Destroy, though, as our second map. I believe it's USS Texas. This is one where I could see Epsilon potentially level it up. I think this is a map realistically you could look at and say, all right, maybe it could go 1-1. Obviously, we know Reedy loves his snipe. We saw him on this map in particular kind of put it away, bring it out. It was a close fought game yesterday against EG. They ultimately, I believe, they lost on this map. But they've obviously had some practice on it. We've seen him play it recently, and I don't know why, but I'm just having this little feeling, Chance, a little feeling that this goes 1-1.
Well, I think there's also a lot of takeaways Epsilon could make to make improvements on the map since they just played EG yesterday. Right. I think it was, what, Vortex, the bomb carrier. They go to that A bomb site relatively frequently where he gets across. He gets to the opposite side of it, and we brought it up yesterday making the point. If Reedy's not sniping, which he puts it away every now and again, if you can have that pressure kind of in the middle of the ship, if you're not playing for that bomb plant for that sniper in the back, you can plant it on the opposite side. So right. Vortex gets aggressive multiple times, and I think there's adjustments like that. Of course, that even on defense, they got to make some switches. That Epsilon can pull out of the bag.
Here's what worries me, though. I know UNILAD, they've been watching the gameplay, and I'll tell you what I would be doing first round when they're on defense. Just launching nades right where you know Vortex sat all yesterday, just to see if he's going to do it, because you could potentially get yourself a very free first blood. It was something Vortex was pretty stubborn about yesterday. He did it almost every single round. But now, of course, game underway. UNILAD on the attacking side first of all. We're looking at Scraps with a sniper rifle to see if he can get a pick.
Very aggressive play as well. So I'm assuming Reedy doesn't have the sniper since he's not in the back of the map, but Dave doesn't need one. Dave is like, I'm trusting you to not be able to hit the ridiculously tough shot of me on a head glitch on the bomb site, and I will be able to connect with my STG. So we've seen that quite a few times from Dave. He goes down B Street, he takes the gunfights against the snipers, and he sees success.
And he makes it look comfortable. He did it against Nameless yesterday in almost an identical situation. However, now, bomb planter will fall. It's Reedy that finds the pick. So, 4 versus 2 situation in favor of Epsilon. Shawnee and Wuskin still alive for UNILAD, but of course they do need to pick up the bomb and get it down. Epsilon with all the information. They know they have bomb down over towards the A site. And Wuskin, of course, now forced to push up a little bit, but this is a round which realistically UNILAD have no right winning whatsoever.
They're able to get the first, instantly trade it out. That player has a grenade in his hands, and you can't win gunfights with a grenade. So yeah, very convincing round. Again, you got to give props to Dave. He just gets that first blood. Like, how many times have we seen, not just Scraps, but so many players take a sniper in the exact spot, and they go around and they peek from all the different angles. Dave, he gets his spot, he doesn't move, stays on a head glitch, plays it perfectly, gets the first blood, secures the round.
And let's not forget how much of a key factor he was yesterday. Of course, we gave a lot of love to a ton of different players, but, you know, Dave stepped up in a big, big way. You know, a lot of us kind of sat there at the end of that match saying, IW Dave. That was it. That was a moment. That was a glimpse of what it was like last year. He needs to bring that same passion and same skill and talent, really, to this series as well. Of course, we know Epsilon, they are relegated, but a big chance for them to play spoiler here as they go up in their final few games of the week. Vortex, though, like this, a little bit different. Something that we mentioned yesterday. Too many times we kind of saw him just kind of jump on a bomb site, not really do much. This time flies over towards the site, gets the bomb down, gets away with his life as well, and you can see the post-plant position ready for Reedy with a sniper rifle.
And I think Epsilon, they can give up, well, I was going to say a fair bit of map control because they have this sniper there on the bomb, but the problem is the smoke right here. Reedy might not be able to make this call out until it's too late. So the question is, do they recognize that they got to push up on Moose? Vortex is that guy, and there you go. This should be the round. They've made the correct play. Now the bomb's easy to watch. Someone, though, for UNILAD is going to have to go huge. Scraps trying to get that opening. 2v2, 12 seconds left. Gets taken down by Hockey. And now Wuskin not able to get both with only one gun. Scraps making it interesting,
right? But
the strategy was there for Epsilon.
Reedy just a little bit caught out there, but sadly not enough resources left for UNILAD. Although they show they've got some balls, to be honest with you. You know, they go straight for that ninja through the smoke. Reedy left, essentially saying, guys, they could be on it. Someone has to check, and Vortex, obviously, that guy picks up the kill.
Yeah, I don't even know what Vortex got the kill from. Like, that was
yeah,
I was waiting to come in, I see it Hockey, and I was like, all right, he did it. Like, good job. Great stuff. But, yeah, you like to see it. I do think UNILAD absolutely made the right play. If you get the bomb, or if the bomb gets planted in that spot, you know there's a sniper in the back, go for the ninja. I think that's your highest percentage play sort of thing. Of course, though, UNILAD, more structured stuff, playing a little bit slow over by A. But once again, Epsilon, I think Reedy puts the sniper away on defense. You got Dave in another head glitch. This time, though, Scraps hits the shot.
Yep, more importantly, going down to the A site as well. Moose should be good to get that down. And now you'll see Scraps post-plant has bomb completely covered. Vortex is, of course, up there. Meanwhile, a teammate does fall. That is Moose. Kills traded, and well, you can see Vortex is just hop straight on the bomb. The sniper rifle bullet goes. Shawnee actually picks up the kill on the diffuser, and that is huge. Now leaves Reedy 1v2.
And Reedy is a bullet off from winning his team that round just because the play call was, again, just to try to go for that immediate defuse. We saw that strategy last round. It hasn't paid off either time. Both teams making the play. And Reedy is going to get cut down. So nice bounce back around for UNILAD. Yep. I appreciate the attempts by both teams, and that's how close rounds get sometimes. It literally comes down to a bullet. How good is your reaction time? Is it an easy gunfight for Reedy? Absolutely not. That's probably a losing gunfight for him, or for the timing at least, 9 times out of 10. But sometimes players make those hero kills, you know.
Yeah, sometimes they do. As UNILAD, as you mentioned, Chance, they bounce back with a round of their own. Still 2-1 advantage. Epsi, USS Texas. And of course it is Epsi on the attacking side now. Vortex going to be the bomb carrier. We saw him just go for a quick plant in their first attacking round. Curious to see if maybe he defaults back to playing slow, but no, like that. Smoke grenade over towards A. Smoke grenade over towards B, but that's unfortunate. Scraps will see him cross, and you expect to see some UNILAD resources maybe pull over towards the B site.
So he sees him cross a B, and then he goes to nades A when he has teammates over there, which might not be the play because the bomb's going to get planted. But see, Reedy, actually, no, yeah, it's Reedy over top of the bomb site, able to get the pick on Wuskins inside the ship. So maybe he could have had better nades. Maybe that could help with the gunfight if Reedy's weak. Easier gunfight for the other twin. Now, though, you got to hope for a miracle. Shawnee's trying to do just that. Gets the first blood. Scraps hits the shot. Dave is going to be weak. And
oh! Oh, you bad man. Round not over, though. Vortex forces a 1v1. 18 seconds on the clock. The kill comes through. But, yep.
That's not right. They don't deserve to win that round. Scraps should never be able to hit that shot. That's absurd. I disagree. The game got that one wrong, and ball don't lie, right? Ball don't lie. They still lost the round. Thank God. That's insane of a shot.
A filthy shot, but ultimately, still, Epsi walk away with the round win. I'm trying to think how many collapses.
How
many collapses?
That wasn't a collapse, was it?
Yeah.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Seriously?
Yes.
No.
Yeah. Yes.
I demand a recount. Was that really? Someone.
I'm pretty, unless my eyes are deceiving me in my old age. It was a nasty shot regardless. Moose 0-4 though, Chance. I do want to point that out. Of course, you made the point of the slow start, but the right plays in map 1. Has bomb in hand. Curious to see if he's going to be able to get the bomb down this round. Just looking for the slow start, of course. Epsilon more than happy to play this one slow themselves.
Absolutely. Scraps once again. He just throwing bullets. It seems like he doesn't even really have to aim. He's just kind of collecting these shots now. So gonna be going for another pick. Of course, slow round once again. Nade's coming in. Actually, Reedy gets tagged up. It's gonna force him back down. That might help get this bomb down, but there are quite a few players from Epsilon that might be playing aggressive on this site. But Moose, his job is done. He gets the bomb down. Wuskin's over top's able to pick up a kill. Scraps is trying to fend off Dave. And Dave's going to retreat to the middle of the ship. So Epsilon, it's going to be a very difficult 3v4 retake for them. Shawnee gets the next kill, and now this should just pretty much be a round. Bombs down. You don't have time. You got too many players to kill. It would be more than a miracle for Epsilon to win this round. And yeah, Scraps, when's the last time he's missed?
Yeah, been a while. That's for sure. Vortex 1v4, but Vortex close to streaks here, so you don't want to see him just throw away his life needlessly. Put yourself in the corner, see if you can get a kill and get away. Or just wait this round out. Don't do anything rash. You know, Scraps has that sniper rifle. Pretty much pre-aiming your position. Checks bomb one more time. Scraps should be good. But again, Vortex playing it smart, playing his life, playing it slow. I heard bullets there, which panicked me a little bit, but I don't think he died.
You go for a prayer kill at the final seconds. You know the round's going to end.
With Scraps shooting like that? You sure about that?
No, I'm not sure at all.
Scraps turns around, no scopes you. Well, there goes your streaks, friend.
It's just not fair.
No, it's not. But UNILAD, of course, they win that round. 3-2, still the advantage in favor of Epsilon. Vortex having a great game thus far. 2 plants to his name as well, 6-2. He's relatively close to some streaks as well. The plant, of course, is definitely going to help, but he has to lie down there. The stuns come through. Sadly, he will fall. Moose with a big first blood.
And funnily enough, there was really no one for Epsilon that was going to be in a position to have a good gunfight to stop that player coming over top A. You see the nades came in, the stuns came in, so that's a very good play call coming out from UNILAD. Now, of course, it's going to be essentially up to Reedy, I really guess, to get that pick with a sniper, but players rarely peek. Wuskins does just for a moment, but those opportunities do not come very often.
When they come, you have to make sure you hit them. Wuskin just teasing Reedy. Reedy will just see him if he goes potentially a little wider there. Oof. Player directly above Reedy as well, so even if he does get this kill, you expect the instant challenge to come through. A fantastic shot in the smallest of angles. Reedy gets challenged, and Reedy, oh no, not like this, Moose. Get up to the bomb, get away. Moose escapes barely with his life, but Reedy had no right whatsoever to even take that gunfight. Now 3v3.
And it looked like Moose hesitated too. It wasn't like an instant jump down, go for the trade. It took him a second. That's a gunfight you have to win because, again, we said they needed a pick, but they got it. Now they might be able to get the bomb down. Scrap sees it, but he probably doesn't see the bomb planter. But obviously they figure out now he's going to back up. Dave gets caught. Still feasible, though, for Epsilon. They got a player inside the ship, and they got a man on the bomb. Man on the bomb goes for the challenge as well.
I like that. The last thing Scraps is going to expect is Reedy to just turn around and fire some bullets at him. Although in Scraps' current form, that's risky, very risky. Hawkey teasing death as Reedy falls. Now Hawkey in a 1v3. 20 seconds on the clock. Shawnee going to be the first he sees. Managed to pick that up, makes it the 1v2. Scraps and Moose still alive, but sadly, he's not going to win that gunfight. And they'll give the defuse over towards, I think they give it Scraps. No, they'll give it towards Moose. Well, that makes sense. The plants come through. So just trying to figure out the maths behind who's closer towards the streaks. Will be Moose.
Yeah, Moose, he started 0-4, but they won 2 rounds while he was 0-4, and he got at least 1 bomb plant off. So he gets the defuse, gets that 1 kill, gets the bomb plant, or defuse, excuse me. That's, I don't know, however many points it is, like 460, 500 something points. So he's close, but he does have to get a second kill.
Problem is,
Moose has had some slow starts in the past.
Everyone from Epsilon now knows how close both those 2 players will be now towards those streaks, but Moose definitely a priority. They know he's going to have bomb too. As Hawkey may just go for the quick push, love it, but Moose again gets away with his life. He's a sneaky one, is Moose, isn't he? A couple of times he's been tagged up pretty heavily.
What the hell is he, like how?
All right, Scraps. We see you. We see you putting on a show. Moose still alive, by the way. Important to note, as Scraps on a 4 streak as well. So ironically, the 2 players working towards those streaks are the 2 players alive going up against Dave and Vortex.
It's not fair, Ben. It's through smoke. He's quick scoping people cross map, or not even like a quick scope, like barely aiming at them. It's legitimately not fair. I don't. Scraps is hacking. Either way, though, UNILAD, it still is a 2v2. Scraps will have to pull some more magic out of the bag, or at the very least, if Moose gets this bomb down again, he is still working towards streaks, excuse me, and Scraps is as well. So this is a very feasible situation. Moose, though, you can see they only have information on one player. He is hesitant of a player for Epsilon being down that B street, but he does make the commitment, gets the streaks, registers the players coming out over top, but Scraps is worried about the flank. So now he's got to make the hero play. Has 2 kills, has a sniper, has bomb down. He can see it. They can see him too.
Yeah, this would be massive for Scraps in a 1v2 here. Instead, it looks like Epsilon going to try and collapse on him. Scraps just needs to try and waste a little bit of time here, force both players to come to him. If he can get a pick and play ring around the rosy, it'd be massive. But Vortex wins the gunfight himself. Bomb will be defused. It is worth mentioning, however, UNILAD, they don't get 2 set streaks. They do still have 1 set of streaks. Moose earned them with the bomb plant. The defuse comes through, and that also now puts Vortex dangerously close to streaks.
And I know the tagline for Epsilon has been slow learners, right? But they know. They saw Moose how close he was. They know that he planted a bomb, and they know he didn't get a kill. That is incredibly easy information to digest.
They will have Mountain.
Not everyone might not have Mountain, but if you're not, you're playing inside the ship, right? Or you're playing where you can dip out to cover. And yeah, Epsilon, okay, Johnny on the spot, just making sure, because there was a moment of doubt where I was like, maybe they don't.
I was going to say, as long as Vortex does, right? Because he's the one that's close to streaks.
Right, yeah.
You want to protect him. He's your key asset. You know he's going to have the bomb in hand. Last time, we saw him try and get that bomb down over towards A. Of course, Reedy had a great post-plant position. Vortex already pushing up, and you have to be wary. You have to be so wary that those streaks could come down at any moment. But if Vortex was able to get first blood here, it would change things a little bit there. Of course, the first streak used by Moose is a glide bomb, connects with nothing. Did Shawnee just spot Vortex?
Yeah, they are going to spot each other 100 times. Both players, I'm pretty sure, know where each other are. But it's incredibly difficult for either of them to win that gunfight. I want to say that's a very tiny glide bomb, but I think they called it in early because of how often Vortex gets to the other side of the bomb. Again, if they've watched the team using strats against it, Moose, though, going to get his 2nd kill on board, and that is a massive first blood. Shuts down Vortex, shut down the bomb carry as well.
Here's what's surprising to me is we saw a few rounds ago Epsilon pull out smokes, right? They pulled out multiple smokes, they smoked out both sites, and they planted. They've already used a glide bomb. That would have been a perfect round to pull out the same smoke grenades and just get the bomb down. Give Vortex a chance of getting those streaks. Maybe play a little bit more proactively there, as opposed to just kind of sitting back, waiting. Yes, you're worried about the glide bomb, completely understandable, but if all 4 of you using Mountain, you know, you throw the smokes, you almost force the glide bomb to come out as well there. You could try and get that bomb down.
Well, it's also tough because if the glide bomb gets called early, I don't know how many nades were invested, right? So it might have been a situation where Epsilon is like, well, if we smokes now, then we're getting naded and we don't really have time to waste. So let's just go for the commitment and maybe hope for good timing, or maybe just go for the gunfight. For all we know, that Moose was 1 shot at the end of it. Maybe it's a gunfight he shouldn't have won or went clutch. We didn't exactly get to see it, so there's no telling to be sure. But what we do know for sure is that Scraps does miss shots on occasion. Still, though, tied 4-4. Anyone's game.
8-4 performance from him. Moose, bomb in hand, still with a fighter pilot. Really the only thing that separates both these 2 teams. A nade thrown down. Vortex needs to be careful. Of course, he is up top. Scraps now backing away. See if he's going to get any information whatsoever over towards that A site. Of course, that's where Moose is heading towards, at least for now. That is, with just shy of a minute to go in this round. Epsilon look to tie things up in the series if they can get 2 more round wins back to back. And finally, it looks like Moose might start making some moves over towards A.
Absolutely. You see Hockey's actually underneath the ship right now, so when things get wild, that's going to be the man to potentially be able to go on the flank. And for the moment, it's only going to be Scraps that's able to read it because everyone else is pushed up, trying to help this bomb carrier get towards the site. And actually, this is what they're doing. They're investing that fighter pilot. They see 2 players. They know they're in the bottom of the ship. That doesn't help you because you could pretty much expect that anyway. Dave this time misses the shot. Now time's ticking down. Moose, though, is going for the bomb plant. You see at least Vortex throwing an nade. You imagine that connects, but 2, no. Someone had to have missed her. They didn't coordinate well enough. They still get him before he recrosses. So man advantage is there. But still, getting that bomb is not easy.
And they have to deal with Scraps, and they do so. Dave snipes, Wuskin falls, and Shawnee now left in a 1v4 situation. Bomb is already being defused. Shawnee has to check. Reedy plays his life, gets a bomb, stays alive. Wow, what a round from Epsilon. They don't lose a man, they get the defuse. And I'm going to ask you, Chance, in your opinion, the fighter pilot, was that the right time to use that?
I don't think it was a terrible time. If you call it in, I think you could just go to get the bomb down right away, but I think it was actually Moose that might have been carrying the bomb. But I do think UNILAD should have reworked their strategy. If you have a fighter pilot, use it to get the bomb down, that's fine, and make it so your teammate doesn't get traded out. More importantly, I think Scraps has been in it's tough to criticize because the shots that he's been hitting, but he's done the exact same thing every round. He's gotten picked by Dave twice. It's been the defensive round wins for Epsilon because of that fact, I think. If you have a fighter pilot, switch it up, stack over by the A-bomb site, and just focus on the bomb more importantly rather than just the prayer picks. But now Scraps is calling it out. He called out at least 2 players, if not more, and we've seen someone in the spot, if not Reedy, this time Vortex in that exact spot. This time Scraps throws the nade in that direction. And he doesn't connect.
Doesn't. Needs to be careful because Dave's playing peekaboo. Scraps swing and a miss, but still watching ever so cautiously. He recognizes Vortex's position, and Scraps does now find the pick on Dave. Leaves that B site wide open. Number advantage in UNILAD's favor. Bomb now is going down. Scraps sees it. Don't think he's going to be able to stop the plant himself, but his teammate does. It's Moose, and somehow Moose managed to get away there.
Trades don't come in. Now, very difficult situation. We're almost certainly going to see around 11 unless Reedy Hockey go huge. Reedy's going on a flank, and he might actually be able to pick up at least one player. Scraps is there for the read. Wuskin, oh God, I was going to say Wuskins gets the trade. Scraps trades his own kills. I want to point out, like, Vortex is 13-5. He's had a monster game, but just because of the snipes that Scraps has been hitting, it feels like he's being overshadowed. So you got to spread the love, but at the same time, Hockey in 1v4, Scraps sees you, and normally when he sees you, he just kind of dies, and it's not a great shot to take, but honestly, like, why not? Like, you're just...
Oh, yeah, why not?
The ones he's been hitting. I hate Scraps. Like,
I don't know the one to the montage reel. A wonderful round there from UNILAD. Forces a round 11 here in the game, too. Of course, Epsilon, a win here levels up the series for UNILAD. They'll go 2-0 up. Back against the wall for UNILAD in the grand scheme of things. Of course, they're still very well capable of finishing top 4 in the final few days here. Secure their spot at Stage 1 playoffs. How many times we've seen Epsilon in positions kind of similar to this over the past few days, and really since Reedy has joined. Can they close it out here, though? That is the question. They're on the attacking side. The B push didn't work out last round. Will it work out this round? Hooky flies towards bottom middle. Moose finds the pick eventually. Dave there to instantly trade out. Vortex finds Shawnee. Numbers advantage in Epsilon's favor.
It's going well. Scraps, though, of course, we know how devastating he can be. He's going to be back over top, and the players right now all inside of that ship for Epsilon. They do not want to be peeking that B street very often, because things will get rough, but it is the twins trying to go for that clutch. Wuskins gets A, his brother gets B, but he's poked out. Huge opportunity. You see nades actually coming in over top, but not enough to finish the job, but to get the bomb down.
Yeah, just get the bomb down and try and get away with your life. If you're Vortex, he does so. And now Scraps is going to have to hit some wondrous shots. He has Wuskin, of course, over towards that A site, but it's a 2v3 retake. Can they somehow do it? Scraps making his way over towards that site. Dave may be the first player that has to check Wuskin firing, but no one wants to peek yet from Epsilon. Vortex has been spotted by Scrap, but he drops down. 20 seconds on the clock. Scraps will find Dave. Dave picks up the kill. Wuskin now for a 1v3 in 15 seconds. Not gonna happen. Epsilon tie up the series.
And shout outs to Vortex. I think he finished with 15 kills because I think he gets that final kill cam to his name. Had himself a hell of a game. I will say both teams, I think there's obvious points of improvement, right? Like the nades from UNILAD definitely could have been better. How many times did they miss a player to try and tag him up, get him weak, stuff like that? But like Epsilon, who was it? Like Hockey over challenges that kill in the bottom of the ship because you see Dave gets that instant trade. Either Dave should be a little bit quicker or Hockey should just duck down. Like your teammate should have the gunfight, right? So, I mean, these obviously are going to be super minor things. Epsilon played it well.
Yep, series now all tied up 1-1. UNILAD took the first win. Gibraltar Hardpoint. Epsilon bounced back in the USS Texas Search and Destroy. The game goes the distance to around 11. But coming up next, it's Capture the Flag. series on main stage, currently tied 1-1. European battle, Epsilon versus UNILAD. Of course, UNILAD's back against the wall in this series in the sense that they need these wins to keep that top 4 dream alive. For Epsilon, relegation is a guarantee at this point, but the chance of playing spoiler is very much still a possibility. And it's worth mentioning, Game 3, London Docks CTF. This is the same map game mode we saw yesterday. That reverse sweep start to happen with Epsilon, and they looked fantastic on London Docks CTF.
They don't have to reverse sweep now. They got that map win, right?
They're improving. They're improving.
They're getting better, and that's an interesting point, right? Like, they do look much, well, obviously they look better with Reedy. They've actually won a series, but the team seems to be making improvements because it's not even like they were getting bullied out from what we've seen in their losses. They seem to be a bit more competitive, and it's interesting as well because it's not like Reedy joins and starts dropping like 55 every map. Like, he's not putting up numbers that are vastly better than Nathan's, but it's a team morale thing. It's a leadership thing. It's what role does this man fit that allows us teammates to do different? Because, like, Dave was a monster all of last year. We haven't seen that really at all this year. Maybe moments of it, but Reedy comes back, and now Dave seems to kind of have his groove. Like, maybe it takes a little bit of the load off having that extra gap. I'm trying to think of the most respectful way of saying this. Don't. I feel like Reedy takes more intelligent gunfights than Nathan did, which in tune then puts his teammates in better positions themselves. I have from what I've zero idea. That is something that, like, to make a statement like that. No. If you watch like Hardpoint specifically, it is one thing I've genuinely been paying a lot of attention to because I was curious to see how Epsilon were going to do with Reedy. Some of the gunfights he takes in Hardpoint are just smart. They're just intelligent gunfights to take. He recognizes how to play his life a little bit better, which is why I actually do rate him as a very talented player. And I know a lot of the other European players in the league have also said similar things along those lines. Like, don't underestimate his ability. He's very, very talented. Yeah, it's got to be something. Whether it's smart gunfights, rolls, like something is definitely there. Maybe it's a combination of all of these things, but of course they still have to get this win because if they get beat 7-0 this map, don't win a map for the rest of the Pro League, we'll be like, oh, never mind, like better with Nathan sort of thing. So they still have a lot left to prove. We don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves, but again, they got that first series win. They're tied 1-1 with UNILAD, and this is a map where they've shown that they are very, very solid at. Outside the first 60 seconds. That's where they definitely faltered yesterday, and already you can see UNILAD knocking on the door. They can potentially try and get that flag pull away. Wuskin could be the first player to cause some problems here for Epsilon as he's put himself in a great position. Flag has been pulled. He can get one. He can find two. Can he find the third? Not going to happen. And Flag ultimately stays at base. And those are the worst, too. He moved on to that third person a bullet away before he finishes the kill. And that's not a criticism at all. That's it. If you get the 3-piece, that's a massive play, right? Like, incredibly difficult to pull off. Moose, you see, is still working for a sneak pull is not the correct word, but trying to keep that aggressive positioning. As you can see, Epsilon, they got a few players over in Warehouse. Wuskins gets one. Doesn't seem he's aware of the other player, though. Hockey might be able to make a play. And that trade does come through. And to your point, what Moose was doing, it pinned 2 players from Epsilon right at the back. And you can see, even now, Reedy so reluctant, I should say, of wanting to push out fire. And still, Vortex with him. They finally hunt Moose out, and now they can push forward. They get map control. Dave gets an important kill on Wuskin, but instantly Shawnee there to stop that flag pull. The aggression could still come through, though. Vortex falls. Hawkey misses the flag, ultimately drops. Now Reedy, last man up, finds one. Can he play his life? Yes, he can. Stays alive for now. And plays like we saw from Dave, I think is the type of play we can qualify as a mistake, right? Because if he just waits another 2 seconds for his teams to catch up, he should be able to get that flag, but instead he runs out, just kind of dies. Now we find ourselves in a situation where Scraps is able to go on the OE, pulls out a flag himself. Reedy, by the way, of course, closest streaks, just needs to get a kill or the flag cap, but you got to shut down Scraps, and Moose is on the cut at least, but he's got to stop the second player. There's someone coming in from Blythe. There's someone coming in from B cut. He's got to play some major defense, and it looks like, well, he's able to hold on. Oh, he didn't expect that, Dave. Oh, he went for the return, but Wuskin stops him. And now it's down to Reedy. Can he pick up the kill on Shawnee for streaks? Yes, he can. Fully streaked out is Reedy. But Wuskin, don't underestimate that 1v1 gunfight there because he had no idea where that player from Epsilon came from. That's huge. And again, Reedy is actually the perfect guy to have streaks as well, because if they manage Epsilon, excuse me, to get map control to push out a little bit, which for the moment they can't because Moose is on the attack, but there they go. They got the kills. Now the player in the back can actually contribute. He can help you even when he's 100 feet away from the gunfights to call in those streaks. So definitely look for him to make a play. Of course, at the same time, we know that flag's going to be underground, so the flag carrier's not going to die. But if they get a quick couple kills, A lot of potential here for Epsilon.
Of course, Reedy just waiting for his teammates to push up and get a little bit of map control before maybe prematurely using a streak. That's going to help. Dave shuts down Moose. This is where you should realistically see Vortex spring into life. He's going to be number 8 on that minimap, left-hand side. It's completely open for him to push through. Dave's pushing underground, sees the flag carrier, not going to win the gunfight, and as well as that, Vortex does ultimately fall there. It was Shawnee that cleaned him up, but Epsilon don't have to worry just yet. Hawkey's going to push up. Next few players may actually want to wrap back over towards Reedy's side. They've spawned so far out to the left, they should know that Reedy's going to have an engagement relatively soon, and Reedy needs to be very, very cautious now of that right-hand side. Vortex has to check this.
At the same time, he doesn't even have to cross, so he might not have to check it because it's in Moose's hands to kind of make the play in the situation. But at the same time, Moose
could get the greatest timing. If he holds this left sandbag, Vortex isn't even going to see him. You see what I'm saying?
No, there's no way. Moose, he has to get some help. Like, Wuskins has to come and help him. Wuskins just sitting in the back. Meanwhile, Hockey goes on the flank, gets the return. Reed should be able to get this flag in, bar Shawnee making a hero play, but Reedy can just dive it in. Even if Shawnee gets 2, which he's able to get 1, will it really make the difference? Well, we can find out because Vortex is on a massive overextension. He's able to get kills in the base. He gets traded. Shawnee, though, he's out. He's out.
What?
He's got his 3rd kill, and he is on his way to tie this game up. 20 seconds left. Now you can't call on the streaks. There's no point. Shawnee makes the play. He gets all 3.
He had no right winning that gunfight. Absolutely no right to win that gunfight. Obviously, he caps the flag. It's going to be tied at 1-1, and Scraps could touch the flag as well here. This could be a drastic ending here for Epsilon. Of course, the overtime will come through. The game's still going on here. Of course, you see the mortars used mid-map. That's not going to connect with anything. One player overextending through cold. That's going to be Reedy. He's going to be first to fight, but he's also the player with streaks. Needs to value his life here. Streaks are going to come through. It's going to be the glide bomb. It's going to connect with a kill just in the nick of time. Flag inches away, and Hawkey goes for the...
He goes for their turn and the game because he's like, hey, I don't need to pull this flag. Who cares? I don't get it. Epsilon.
Why? Why would you not pull the flag? For you run past the flag.
It's, again, we've
You
seen
run past. You had...
I saw it. You saw it. Everyone in the chat saw it. Get GGs in the chat. No, we don't. Not GGs yet. But again, like, what was it? Dave pushed out, goes for a hero pull when they literally have a 4 versus 1. Just has to wait 2 seconds for his teammates. Doesn't. They don't get that flag. That's where Scraps goes on the OE. So that bad decision spirals out for Scraps to pull the flag. They never try to invest the streaks. Of course, it sort of pans out until Shawnee goes for a hero play. But the second player doesn't necessarily have to take the gunfight. He shouldn't have been able to win the 3rd anyway. But yeah, a combination of bad mistakes, bad decisions, and hero plays coming out from Shawnee and UNILAD. We have a tie game, Ben.
Yes, we do. Now, kick things off on board with Reedy. Fire OP there as Moose ultimately falls, and Vortex goes for the instant flag pull. Realistically, it's going to be Shawnee that's put himself into a great position to be a nuisance. Instead, a glide bomb's going to be used here from UNILAD, and that ultimately shuts down Vortex. Flag should be good to be returned as well. Meanwhile, Shawnee actually goes for the full OE, pulls the flag. He's long gone. No, not going to get away for a moment. Not like he would be able to get through Cole. But killed, and both flags back at base.
And you can see UNILAD is very happy to just kind of repeatedly hit that overextension. Of course, it's all situational, right? But they're calling the streaks, and they knew they had the clearance for it. So they go for the hero plays, because why not? You might as well when you have opportunities like that, because we saw how close Shawnee was to getting away. Of course, now, though, UNILAD was going to stay stuck in their base, but no more. They can go up, get that map control. Hockey was going to get shot at from pretty much all 4 players. He's able to take one down and makes the job for Reedy a little bit easier. Goes for the pre-fire as well, connects with the second, and those are the huge kills. Again, we said earlier, it's not always good enough for SMG players to get that first kill. They got to at least damage, if not kill the second. He just does just that.
One man on a mission right there from Reedy. Great anticipation on the second. Also shuts down Wuskins, so Epsilon can just breathe a little bit here as they fight to retake map control. Keep your eye on Dave. That's going to be number 7, as he actually has a key fight there with Wuskins. Backtracks over towards mid-map. Should get at least 1 kill for his efforts. He does so. That, of course, being Moose. And Dave just being a little bit of a nuisance here. UNILAD have to respect that he's over here. At some point, they may actually have to dedicate to try and kill him. It's going to be Wuskin that does just that. Pops top the crane, and Shorty now actually using a fighter pilot, recognizing, hey, hold on, we may have a chance to pull, but ultimately doesn't get a single kill for his efforts.
And that's a pretty weird angle as well, because he kind of makes sure he's like, hey, I know there's a lot of cover in the back spawn, so I'll call it from the back so I can't see any of you. So, yeah, definitely improvements to make from both sides. I think it's More boards. I mean, maybe he's going for the picks on the players in beer, but you can pretty much do that from any angle. So I don't know. I don't know what the attempt was there. Either way, still, it's tied 1-1. This is one of the lowest scoring games we've seen on Docks in quite some time.
Key thing to note as well, Reedy still has himself a fighter pilot, right? And you just have to think if Epsilon is able to get a couple of kills in quick succession, you could then see that fighter pilot come out to play as a few moments follow after the kills that come through. As for now, though, Vortex looking to push up. Of course, there is still one player. Oh no. Moose, a big double from him. He does get traded out, but as soon as you see Epsilon get map control chance, it's plays like that which diminish it almost instantly.
And well, now Dave is behind enemy lines, but obviously they know exactly where he is, so Wuskins should be able to keep him contained. And wow, he's just going to go for it. And, well, I think they might have known you were there. So that's not going to work out. Now UNILAD on the attack. Epsilon is going to be a little bit turtle in their base. Reedy's going for a flank. Actually has 2 players over to the side. He does get snipped out, though. That's a big gunfight win for Shawnee. Now they got a 4v3. Epsilon tucked away in their base. Moose gets 1. Scraps gets 1. All players are sharing the love. And they're going to be able to get that flag out, if not having to pass off the flag.
Wow, Reedy spawns so far out, or so far up at Cole. Now he's, I mean, that's the problem, right? You're the player that's closest to the flag. You're the player with the fighter pilot. Ultimately caught between 2 mines there, decides not to use it. Shawnee caps the flag. Advantage UNILAD, and Reedy still with that fighter pilot.
Yeah, Reedy's in a obviously very difficult spot there. He's going to have to deal with 3 players. Hesitates on the call-in as well, but now he's just got to use it, right? You're down a flag. You got less than a minute to work with. Doesn't get much out of it, but they're able to get 1, but maybe not enough. There's only 1 player left. Now Dave's got to go huge, and, well, he simply doesn't. Time's ticking down. The clock is not a friend of Epsilon.
And Shawnee is definitely high priority kill here. 550 out of 625 towards the fighter pilot. He gets behind Reedy, gets streaks, and that should now be the game. He's going to invest into the glide bomb almost instantly. And that should put a stop to Hawkey's push. It does so. 22 seconds. UNILAD 1 flag lead, full control. A fighter pilot raining down from above. Epsilon now surely cannot push through the map and overextend. Realistically, it's going to be on Scraps just to make sure he secures that kill on Vortex. But Vortex, yep, does go down, and 1 player pushing through fire. That should be it. I don't think he's going to be able to dive towards the flag. Moose throws out the nade just in case. Does touch it. Of course, the flag needs to be returned, and there you have it. UNILAD with a 2-1 lead.
And again, a game where Epsilon were like, hey, you played really well. Oh, no, you didn't. Like, you could have won that game, but mistakes were obviously pretty present. I say both sides again every single game. It's playing Call of Duty. People are going to make mistakes. It happens, but the mistakes that were made almost certainly shouldn't have happened. Some of them were pretty brutal, but again, maybe Epsilon can go back to the drawing boards. UNILAD, they get that 2nd win. They're looking good for this series. We got, what is it? I think 2 more London Docks on board, if it even goes to map 5. You think London Docks Hardpoint, Epsilon, they've looked decent in the past. I think that's actually where they have the most wins.
I mean, we saw them. We saw them yesterday against EG, and it was one where they were first to rotate to every single hill, and you were like, "Oh, this is looking promising." But EG just kind of walked straight through the front of the hill and was like, "Yeah, no, we're going to take control of it now." And that was really the big complaint that we noticed, or the big fundamental flaw, I should say, in their gameplay was they just weren't holding onto the hills after they were rotating. And I feel like if you do that against a team like UNILAD, you're not going to win the map. It's as simple as that.
I mean, it's tough, right? Like, if you even think of the first hard point, like, if you're not getting your kills, you're going to lose the game, and Scraps got a lot of kills, did not die very many times, and Wuskins, saying he had a slow start, he had a slow start in comparison to his brother. He goes on a rampage towards the end as well, and I think maybe you could say Moose has slow starts on occasion.
Yes.
What was it, 1 and 12?
1 kill off the full rotation.
But then he goes on massive tears, right? Like, I swear, we can go back through, like, these past weeks. Moose repeatedly has slow starts and then immediately turns around. He just, like, snaps it on at a certain point. Like, what was that double kill he had on, like, the Doc CTF where, like, he's getting pre-fired and, like, he just, like, dodges bullets? Like, I don't even know. So, like, it's just, it's tough. UNILAD obviously are a very good team. They're still fighting for that playoff spot, and they're looking good to close this series out here against Epsilon.
Most definitely are. Of course, not crumbling under the pressure. UNILAD, they know that this is a game which they're expected to win, and they're still coming in at full intensity, which is what you love to see. For Epsilon, they look to try and force another game 5 here. It's on London Docks Hardpoint. As I mentioned, we saw this in the rotation yesterday against EG. It was one they, at times, looked good at. but I mean, you can see just kind of how close the last few maps were. Of course, the USS Texas round 11, the London Docks just one flag in it, but it was UNILAD that comfortably controlled game 1 at Hardpoint Gibraltar. And that's your fear if you're an Epsilon fan, but when you head over to London Docks, UNILAD will have just the same amount of control.
And I guess thinking long-term, like you look at that London Docks CTF, you look at even the maps that they lost against EG yesterday, it seems like they should be winning quite a bit more than they are, right? And if they were to go up 2-1 in this series, then at the very least, if you go to map 5 for the Search and Destroy, they'll be looking good, right? So I think long-term for Epsilon, there's a lot to take away. Like, this would be a team that, if they make it back in the Pro League, of course, they are going to get relegated, but if they make it back for Stage 2, like, I'm cool with that. Like, I think with the addition of Reedy, it's a very solid team, and I think they have the potential to continually improve, and the sky probably is the limit for this team. Like, I don't see them winning, like, a tournament this year, but they could obviously place much, much higher than they have been, right? Like, the roster change seems to be nice.
It definitely does. As I said before, earlier on in that commercial break to Chance, but I wish, honestly, Epsilon had started with Reedy. I'd be curious to see where they would be at in the standings, because they've shown nothing but improvement every time we've watched them play. This is going to be a key indication now in terms of that improvement, because as I mentioned before, this the same map and game mode we saw against EG, where they had tons of early control but just couldn't hold down the hills. Now Epsilon trying to force that game 5. The problem, however, UNILAD, such a good team throughout this entire Division B, and they recognize they need these wins now, Chance.
Absolutely. Epsilon trying to fight in a statue as well. It's going to be Moose once again. We saw how much time that guy spends inside of the hill, and it's what he's doing again. He's trusting his teammates to watch over top of him just to pick up the kills, and Wuskins, well, he's doing just that. He's doing it all the way down from lower docks. Picks up 2, stays alive long enough for his teammates to come help him, but just picks up the 3rd on his own. And yes, Epsilon is going to not be down by too much, but they do not have the spawns, and Epsilon has a very full spread on the map. Shawnee's looking underground, doesn't win the gunfight, but now the players for Epsilon, there's 3 of them. They're a solid 10-15 seconds from being able to contest. There's 1 player in the back. The problem is, though, Scraps needs to rotate back or go for the OE, because there's 2 players fighting 3. Epsilon, this is their opportunity. They got to go.
Yeah, Hawkey's just taking so long waiting for his teammates to finally push before he could collapse. They finally go for the push, and Hawkey's just not there to push it at the same time. Yes, he wins the gunfight against Moose, but you would have loved to have seen that come in at the exact same time. Now Wuskin in a world of pain ultimately does find that pick, but Epsilon break through the front here of Main Street and get some time on the hill.
And they could have broken through quicker. There were some pretty decent-sized holes in UNILAD's setup on that. At the same time, maybe Scraps is playing for kills, because I know he got very close to his streaks with the 5 spree. Now it comes down to Shawnee. Well, someone has to get the 2 kills in the hill. He's going to be the guy that pulls it off, and this scrap time to UNILAD, who have taken themselves a very nice lead, and they're winning the rotation.
Yeah, UNILAD have looked fantastic early on here on this London Docks. You brought up the point, right? They've already won that rotation fight over towards Docks. Dave's going to have to try and push straight through. Moose will fall. Get that hardpoint contested. Scraps, the first player from UNILAD that's going to be inside the hill. Ultimately, though, doesn't matter too much, as he actually finds himself a nice couple of kills for his efforts, and halfway through now towards that fighter pilot.
Yeah, just doing a nice job to contest or get the time. Epsilon, they're just sitting on the window. They're trying to get inside the hill. Finally, Dave's going to be that guy. Scraps, though, spots him out, wins the gunfight, got the sub up close. Should be easy. Gives his teammate a little bit of a love top, but now Moose can push out the hill. They can push out. So this was a great job getting the scrap time, winning the rotation, holding true, getting the contest time when they needed. UNILAD doing everything right at the moment. They have taken a hefty lead.
Yeah, huge lead, almost 80 points. As finally, it seems Epsilon breaking towards Docks. They get the scrap time, but look at what Shawnee's doing. Making the right play, just pushing underground, trying to get behind enemy lines. You'd love to see him maybe be a little quicker here just to influence the spawns towards the end, especially considering no one's actually inside that hill. Finally, as he springs into life, now almost has to wait for his teammates to go for the pinch. Moose goes straight through the front door. Epsilon now sandwiched between UNILAD players. Shawnee goes for his attack from the back. Scraps, of course, straight through the front door. Scraps looking for the double. His brother assists him there as Wuskin shuts down Dave. Epsilon still controlled the spawns. Of course, Shawnee did ultimately fall, but a great play there from UNILAD.
And at the very least, it's a situation where you lose the spawns, but you do a nice job of contesting. Still, though, they got to get a little bit of pressure in the front, because Epsilon has gotten a fair bit of time so far on barrels. Players flying around the front. Reedy wins. One's going to push out, has some team help as well, and pretty decent hold overall if they can clean up that final player of Moose, who's going to try and contest. So actually, yeah, UNILAD has done a pretty good job on this hill.
It is worth mentioning, though, on the flip side, considering how one-sided this game actually was, the lead not as bad as it could have been, right? If you consider second to third rotation, UNILAD completely dominated. Main Street, they had the majority of time there as well. I mean, if I'm Epsilon, I'm, obviously upset with how the first rotation of Hills went, right? But you look at the score, I mean, they're still in this.
Well, I was going to say it would get bad, though, because they shouldn't be able to win the rotation over to Crane, but this is the opposite of what we saw in Gibraltar. Yeah. On Gibraltar, is you get the early rotations, you get the hold pretty much for the entirety. This time, it's like whoever gets there first, outside of, I guess, the warehouse hill, just loses. Yeah, so Epsilon doing a fantastic job. Dave's getting himself some streaks. He's on a 6th spree as well, but this is full control on Crane, and just because of the fact that Epsilon had control of the dockside, the nades aren't coming to the hill nearly as a rapid pace as what we usually see, and Reedy, more importantly, inside the hill is winning those huge gunfights. He goes on a 3 spree inside the hill, doesn't get the streaks, but still, he does his job damn well.
Yeah, he very much does. Is Epsilon bring it within 10. Dave gets himself a fighter pilot. No further streaks, though, as he was shut down. He was trying to put himself in towards fire, but sadly, UNILAD had already pushed so far up that he had that completely covered. 3 players go down. Not enough time to jump into the hill and get the extra 100 points. Hawkey, though, turns around and is like, really? You're just going to be there, are you? Okay, fair enough. Epsilon, though, early time on statue.
Still, though, it's always going to be contest heavy. I don't think either team, really showed that they're going to be capable of getting a substantial amount of time on this. But Moose, back to his old ways. He's the guy inside the hill. He is that meat shield, if you will, but he is going to get taken down. But at the same time, UNILAD, for the moment, they have the setup that they prefer. They got the back spawns. Vortex is trying to make something happen, but Scraps is like, nah, I'm just going to kill their entire team.
Vortex has to stay alive now. He picks up the double. He's done his job. Hill's going to be completely neutral, but has to stay alive. He's being a nuisance here as he picks up a triple. Juggle the hill, get the points, get off the hill. That's what you'd love to see him potentially try and do, but goes for the challenge instead. Luckily enough for him, however, his teammates do have that back bus and useless spawn. So when the hardpoint does eventually rotate over towards Street, it is Epsilon who have the advantage early on. The question is, where is number 5 going to spawn? Or, sorry, number 4, Vortex. Would have loved to see him maybe hold his kill cam there a little bit, ultimately die straight away, and spawns even further out now as well. Again, another instance of where maybe just watching your kill cam could have been more beneficial.
At the same time, though, that player spawns out, but still the players for UNILAD a little bit too slow trying to retake. So Vortex is actually going to make it all the way back, at the very least, to keep UNILAD outside. So neither team able to get some time. Vortex does not win that gunfight. That would have been nice for him. Scraps, though, is going to fall, but at the same time, UNILAD on the Main Street hill, they have done a fairly decent job of breaking through.
Dave winning some key gunfights here for Epsilon, and again, keeping it close. Still has that fighter pilot to use. May not have to even bother using it here on Main Street. Final 20 seconds. Note Reedy already rotating, trying to push straight through. There's one. Can he find the second? It's Wuskin. Would have been a massive win for Epsilon. Vortex now the second player to rotate. Recognizes he has a 1v1. Him versus Wuskin on the new hill. Support coming in the form of Reedy once again. Note big wide flank coming in from Hawkey as he's trying to set up the pinch, but he's going to have to speed up a little bit because his teammates are winning the gunfights around the hill. It's just down to one player, Wuskin in the hill. Vortex beams him. A wonderful break there from Epsilon.
Hawkey goes on the flank, doesn't have to do a thing. His positioning alone is just going to spawn the opponent out because everyone gets the kills. And Doc's Warehouse, we know you can get that full 60. It's not easy to get that set up. But for the moment, Epsilon, they absolutely have it, though. Scraps, though, he picks up the big 2. The man's a freak of nature, has 25 kills, leading the lobby as he seemingly always does. And he's going to be able to contest.
And that was a key repositioning there from Reedy. Just pulls away a little bit, recognizes the hardpoint's going to be contested. Note how close to streaks he is at one shot. May want to consider just getting out of the hill to maybe just jump straight back in, keep it contested. A teammate to bait here for him would just be absolutely wonderful. Note Hawkey is in the window. Towards his right-hand side there. Hawkey is going to call out 2 players, put some shots down, but falls, and now Reedy goes back to the window to try and trade the kill. Not going to be able to do so, and gets completely collapsed upon. Sadly for him, no streaks, but you look at the score here, Chance, 144 to 139.
And UNILAD had the good spawn as well, but now the question is, do they still spawn in the back? And yes, they sort of do. Vortex is going on the flank.
Oh, that's a...
Shani, though. This is what Shani does. Shani flanked on this hill last time. He's going to be aware of it. Beams him with the nade. That is a dead player for you. So Epsilon, they got to fight through the mid, but Scraps has those cutoffs. He's able to pick one, has the streaks. Those 2 players are in coal. Shani's still in the back. Man lives for the flanks in these situations. He's able to pick up one, and he's got the teammates to come and support. This is a very nice hold here for UNILAD.
Yeah, it's going to give them a ton of time when the dust settles. It really will. Wuskin being a nuisance, and now you have UNILAD getting dangerously close to streaks on a couple of players there. Moose still in the hill. Dave picks up a double, but I'm not sure it's going to matter too much as he can test. Scraps pushes out the hill. Of course, he has a fighter and a glide bomb. at his disposal. And UNILAD, more importantly now, with a big lead. This was a very, very close game as we went to barrels. Now, not so much chance. 92 points or 91 or 190 because they get off the hill to the 139 of Epsilon. Epsilon have to fight back right here.
And they do have control of the hill, but Wuskins, he gets that back right spawn. The players inside the hill are just going to die. So the Streaks picks up the players mid, and they just spawn right on top of Wuskins. Still, the more Streaks coming in might be easy cleanup kills, or actually, no. That's the fighter pilot coming in from Epsilon, so there you go. They got the back right spawn. They call it in the Streaks.
You like
now
fighter pilots?
Streaked on, so we'll just watch fighter pilots for the next 10 minutes.
Getting deja vu from what we had yesterday. The crazy Ardennes farce ended with just unbelievable amount of Streaks being rained down onto the map. But for now, Scraps looking to find a couple of kills. There's one, not going to find anything else. But Moose just sat in the hill, earning UNILAD so much time. 1:26 total game or total hill time for him this map. The Scrap 13. Is anyone going to be able to pick it up? Vortex more worried about the new hill as he picks up 3. Wuskin trades. Dave drops down, gets the extra 100 plus the kill inside the hill. But I'll tell you what, Chance, this is going to be an uphill fight for Epsilon.
Absolutely, but I mean, Statue Hill, hey, you just have to keep Moose, basically, is the player that's going to be inside the hill. Keep him out and make sure finally you get another rotation of main street, because Epsilon haven't done a great job of getting those full 60s when they have the holds, but still, they do a bad job twice. If you just do it on main street, you could be right back in this game.
40 seconds still of the hill, so plenty of time. Hawkeye spawns deep up the map, pushes straight through Cole, wins the key fight on Moose, and now keep your eye on the minimap. Yeah, or in fact, we'll just go straight over to Hawkeye, because that is a big win right there. Could potentially dictate the other big win. Comes in from Fire. Reedy shuts down Wuskin. Epsilon have done everything right. They've put themselves in a position to potentially take this map. Now it comes down to probably the easier part, win those gunfights.
At the same time, though, they didn't put a lot of pressure on the right side of the map, so UNILAD, they just get a bit of a free walk through lights, but at the same time, they don't get any of the time on the hill. So yeah, Epsilon's back in it. Hockey's got to win one, though. Has players nearby, but like he doesn't seem to be aware of the pressure. He's looking at the direction his teammates are coming from, and now UNILAD, just like that, they have control of the hill. Not nearly enough pressure in the correct places there for Epsilon. Now they got to fight back.
They did everything right, apart from put the pressure on the right-hand side of the map. Vortex so close to Streaks. Streaks could be massive here. Just go for the 100 points. Vortex dive onto the hill. That's the key play here. He gets the points, gets the Streaks. Now, 39 seconds left. He's going to streak. This should give Epsilon so much time here. He recognizes a couple players coming through, but doesn't connect with anything. Instead, Reedy there to support. He finds one. Can he find the second? No, he can't. And that's going to leave Dave in an awkward situation where he needs to win the gunfights. He gets gunned. 25 seconds left. UNILAD cannot win it here, but Epsilon just threw away a chunk of time.
And with the Glide Bomb, they don't kill the player that's out in the open. They trust his teammates. They try to kill the players in lights, but he goes for the players in the building. Luckily for Epsilon, I guess he get the scrap time. Calling in the fighter pilot. There's 3 players that might get caught out by this. Make it just 2, but this is huge. Epsilon can absolutely do this. They have Reedy inside the hill, but he's going to win some big gunfights. He needs to for his team to keep him in this series. And, well, you know, he's going to fall.
Well, just as you say that, he does ultimately fall. Keep your eye on the shot clock as well. Doc's Warehouse, a very heavily contested hardpoint. 35 seconds and ticking. If you're UNILAD with the lead, all you need is the contest. Epsilon, they win the gunfights for now, but Dave recognizes, boys, I'm in a 1v2. The pinch tried to come through from Hawkeye, and Dave is going to be left in a position where he almost has to make the play. Not going to happen. 25 seconds left. UNILAD pushing 240. Reedy first in the fight. He ultimately drops. Teammates still in the hill. It's going to be Moose versus Vortex for now. Shot clock finally comes to an end. 25 seconds on the clock of just Doc's Warehouse. 15 seconds. You got to go. You have to challenge these fights if you're Epsilon.
Epsilon, it's a difficult situation. Wuskins picks up 2. They get inside the hill. UNILAD can get out, or they could just win the game here. Epsilon, they do not have time. They got to get past Moose. They got to get inside the hill. They get the split spawns, but time is just ticking down. Someone's got to make the hero play. Reedy gets taken down. A player coming in the back gets taken down. UNILAD cleans them up, clears them out, wins the game.
And I think that is just a key highlight there to just maybe team chemistry, the practice. Epsilon put themselves in a very, very good position to win that map. Right, you go back to the Statue Hardpoint of that last rotation. They put themselves in the key position, but